For the discussion question.
Okay.
Number one, grand. This is an adjective meaning the very large, the largest, most important. I think you guys know this one. Grand Canyon.
Oh yes.
Is there also, what can you think of in Seoul that has the name Grand?
Quicks.
Coex has the name Grand? Really?
No.
그랜드 백화점.
Grand Baekwajem? Where is that?
Grand department store.
No.
Where?
That name is Grand 백화점.
Where?
In Sincho.
Not Lotte, not Shinsegae, not Hyundai, just Grand.
Yes.
There's also another very, I thought, famous, obvious answer
Grand.
in Seoul. Two of them actually.
Grand.
Okay, that's one. Think about the subway
Subway?
and subway stations.
그래요?
Maybe you guys don't know because you're always looking at the Korean one, right?
Yes.
Grand
Park.
Seoul Grand Park.
Yeah.
And there's another one. Seoul Grand Park and Children's Grand Park.
Okay.
That's what foreigners
Wow.
know.
Surprise.
Seoul Grand
Wow.
Park. Children's Grand Park. Example sentence. I saw a lot of grand paintings in the Louvre Museum in Paris. Just means very large, important, amazing. Sometimes, maybe it's a little more old-fashioned. It's not something I would use. But if I ask, how are you doing? Just grand. Just means just grand. I'm doing pretty fantastic. You might see that. Just grand. It's not something I use, but you would hear that.
But whenever I say, how's it going, then most of the foreigners usually answer like, not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Always.
So
I would never heard
not
another.
bad.
Yeah, another.
Pretty good.
No,
Usually
not never.
Not good. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Not bad. So.
Yeah.
Just grand means amazing. Not bad. And in a lot of older songs, that word might come up, like 1920, like jazz music, early 1900s. Number two, ice cap is a noun. Large piece of ice covering a large area. I think everyone understands that from the discussion. It's usually in North Pole or South Pole. The example sentence, we are doomed if all the ice caps in the North Pole will completely melt. So ice cap are these, and usually they are sometimes moving, right? Another word that people use is glaciers.
Yeah.
Glaciers. There might be, I'm not a scientist, so there might be some difference between ice cap and glacier. Glaciers, when I think glaciers are definitely the ones that are moving.
Yeah.
Glaciers are moving. And then there is also, oh gosh, the Titanic was sunk by iceberg. Iceberg is the floating one, which actually can be really huge, but comparatively, compared to an ice cap, an iceberg is tiny. Yeah, the iceberg can be. I've seen icebergs can be huge, bigger than this building, definitely. But even compared to the ice cap, it's tiny. Number three, only time will tell. This is an idiom of an expression. It is used at the end of our listening drill, and that is a perfect example of how people will use this. It is just talking about future events are unknown. We don't know exactly what will happen. We just have to wait and see. So, will the White House have to move? Only time will tell. Will Sungwoo do very well in his army and, and have a great time. Only time will tell. Number 4, to bulge up, to swell, protrude, curve outward or upward, to stick out. And the bulge by itself is just a noun, a bulge. This can be used in the discussion we were having about land, can be a bulge. This example sentence says the earthquake caused a few parts of the road to bulge up. You know, because after the earthquake, the road is sticking out, it's bulging up. Sometimes this word is used for medical, like a lot of times you say, if it's small, I have a bump, or I have a bruise is different, I have a bump. But sometimes I've heard them in a more medical term call it a bulge that you can have on your body where there's something that's protruding. This means to stick out. There's a very famous World War II battle called Battle of the Bulge, Battle at the Bulge, I think Battle of the Bulge, which was a very famous battle in World War II, and it's because it's talking about the land there was a huge bulge. I think my grandfather was there. And number 5, occurrence. This is a noun, something that takes place, an event or incident. So the verb is to occur, to happen, and is oftentimes changed to this noun form. Example sentence, we cannot stop natural occurrences like typhoon. It is oftentimes used like that. That's a good example sentence. Natural occurrences. What would supernatural occurrences might be like a UFO or some alien sighting that is sometimes used like that. So those are the 5 vocabulary terms. Any questions about those words? No questions? They're pretty simple, pretty easy. Only 5 this week, so we can go to the questions.